And welcome back, everybody, to episode 201 of Two Goalies, One Mic, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room with over 300 beers to choose from at 6 different Western New York locations, a location in Rochester and Ohio. If you happen to be there, if you need a beer, make sure you make it a Fatty Beer. Let them know Two Goalies, One Mic sent you. I am Duane, your host, along with my co-host, Conor Hurley. Fresh off a week later. For one of our better interviews ever done to get with new Sabres goaltender Alex Lyon. Conor, how's the week been? Some great news today, just as a Bills fan, but not a ton to talk about. The Sabres schedule drops. Some reports from Chris Johnston about the league being worried about the Sabres. And, we're going to do some way too early opening night predictions, but just overall, how has your week been? And what did you think about the big news today for Bills fans?
Week's been good, and red helmet's coming back. That's obviously big. I think it's long awaited for a lot of people, and
Conor, did you freeze up there, bud? If anybody could hear me, if it's a me or is it Conor? Not too sure. I'm not sure if somebody in the chat can let us know if it's me or is it Conor. I don't know. Are you there?
Yeah, you got me?
Yeah, you froze up there for a second, or I'm not sure if that was you or me.
You hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now. No, I mean, your whole screen was frozen.
So. Yeah, no, I saw a buffering. I'm not sure if it was me or you. But,
okay.
Yeah, helmets were great. I think I'm pretty excited about that. Really big news for the city, the fan base, everything else. But, Sabres schedule, I mean, it's a unique year given the Olympics. Hasn't happened in a long time, I think, since 2014. So everything's kind of packed in, especially leading up and leading out of the February Olympic break. There's going to be a lot of back-to-backs. There's going to be a lot of games in January and March. But that also allows for a lot of different opportunities, and we can go through month by month. But at least to start, 10 of the first 14 at home. The Sabres were actually pretty good last year at home. It's kind of switched from year to year, whether they've been good at home or on the road. But at least last year, they finished the season particularly well at home, and they used some of the momentum coming down the stretch. So if they are able to start hot, as they have in the past, somewhat recently, I think that's going to be really, really beneficial to this team, because a slow start would be the kiss of death. So a hot start at home, 10 of 14 is pretty significant in my opinion.
I couldn't agree with you more. In the past couple of years, like you said, they have struggled to start the season. Last year, the year before, some struggle. I mean, I think the last time they had a really good start was what? How long ago? Was it about 4 or 5 years ago now?
At home, potentially 2019.
No, just in general, like a start. Like you look at the schedule. Like obviously, it's flooded with a lot of home games early. But like, obviously, when is the last time we had a good start?
Yeah, I mean, it might be as late as 2019, to be honest.
Was that the 10-game streak?
That was the second year. 10-game streak was 2018. 2019 was the second year of Ralph Kruger. And they got off to another really hot start and then fizzled down the stretch. And obviously that didn't end very well. But at least, I mean, then after that, it was kind of a little strange because the season started in January of 2021 after the COVID year, and then beginning in 2022 and then 2023. Obviously, the expectations coming off the late playoff run at the end of 2023. I think the last true good start to the season was probably 2019.
Yeah, I think you might be right. So let's get right into it. We're gonna get right into the schedule. But I actually know first thing I want to cover is I believe it was Chris Johnson put a report out there that with the struggles for the Sabres, obviously in any league, when you have a team, especially from a market like Buffalo's, obviously Buffalo's not like a big market, but obviously we're an important market, right? You would agree?
Yeah, for sure.
We're a very important market.
I mean, it's not too far off from being a part of the greater Toronto metro area.
Agreed. So like to summarize, I guess I think it was Chris Johnson said that the league is concerned in regards to the Sabres and their struggles over I mean, I can't remember what the tweet said specifically, but they're concerned. And like, is this a situation? I know we like people joke about it, but will the league step in a sense to have a conversation with ownership and be like, what's going on here? You're a market like Buffalo, like that fan base should not be being put through this for this long of a time. It's time to get your shit together. I mean, would Gary Bettman step in? I mean, I know Gary knows how important the Buffalo market is and what our fan base is. I mean, he stepped in once before when the team was in bankruptcy, took control of the team, and waited to find an owner that was going to keep the team here. And then the one thing I do want to address too is fans that seem to think that there's a chance this team isn't moving. They're not. Look how long the NHL waited out Arizona. Look how long they stuck by Florida. I mean, for a few years, Florida was giving away tickets and free hot dogs to fans with Florida State issued licenses. And that's a market where you were lucky if you could fill a quarter of the arena most nights. So for a team like the Sabres, who averages, again, their average attendance isn't great, but the market for for their TV ratings and just overall passion. I looked this up. I use Grok, and I asked Grok, can you rank NHL fan bases in terms of engagement with their team on this app, like 1 through 32? Try and guess where Buffalo ranked.
I'm gonna say 3.
6. Like, you had the bigger market teams like Chicago and stuff like that in front of you, Toronto, obviously. But Buffalo ranks 6 in a 14-year playoff drought. Now, imagine any other teams that were in the situation Buffalo's in right now and how engaged their fan bases would be given this, if they were in the same situation as we are. Like, there's no way this team's moving, in my opinion. Like, there's no way. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah. So pushing that all to the side, is this a situation in your eyes, Connor? Do you think Gary would actually step in and try and have a conversation with ownership and tell them you need to start spending money, you need to start putting money into this arena, you still need to start giving back to these fans because this is inexcusable?
I mean, maybe. I'm not sure if there's a precedent for that. I'm not sure if there's, at least recently in modern day business. I think Gary Bettman and Terry Pegula probably have a pretty good relationship at this point, and he's existed in that space for long enough that there is a certain level of trust there, at least from a business perspective. So I can't imagine he is going to try to strong arm him in spending to the cap. Obviously, I think there's a similar type of relationship in terms of the arena, right? Like let's say with Terry had with the NFL, obviously Roger Goodell at least not ever so slightly encouraged the Bills to get a new stadium, or at least try to get them the money for a new stadium so that they could stay in that market, because otherwise it would have been way more difficult.
Agreed.
So maybe in terms of putting money into the arena, I would say potentially that would be more likely, but I'm not sure if he's even allowed to be like, you have to spend to the cap, because as far as I'm concerned, that's not necessarily a requirement. So I don't know. At this point, I would say no, but I mean, crazier things have happened in sports leagues, so I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah, I think that rumor from, I mean, again, it's unless it's coming from like Elliot Friedman. I mean, Chris Johnson's like a very, very, credible source or reporter, maybe, but unless, for me at this point, if it's something like that isn't coming from Elliot Friedman, it's a big, like, nothing burger to me, so something I just kind of wanted to touch on, just because it's news in a time where we don't have a lot of it for the Sabres. So I'm going to pull up the schedule here. let me just share. I gotta share my screen here for this year's NHL schedule. They open up the season. Well, their preseason games are against Columbus back-to-back. Then they play Detroit twice. And then they open up the NHL season. Well, Pittsburgh twice. Then they open up the NHL season. Right? Is it against the Rangers?
Yes.
It's the Rangers on October 9th. So Rangers, who I don't think are going to be as tough of a team. They weren't, I guess you could even call them that tough of a team last season. They went from, best, to missing the playoffs in terms of the standings, but a team that I think is very beatable. And again, you get a lot of home games there to start the season out of your first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them are at home.
Yeah, that's
with a back-to-back against Toronto in October. Talk about something I haven't seen in a long time. A home and home.
I kind of like that. Hopefully, I don't know if it's hopefully or not. Hopefully that geopolitical relations between U.S. and Canada are a little bit better. That Canadians are actually coming into the United States for that type of situation, and that Sabres fans would go up to Toronto. Obviously, not as much of a thing in terms of ticket prices and the demand to get tickets up in Toronto, but hopefully that atmosphere will still be at least a little bit wild and a good atmosphere given what's transpiring. But you don't see that too often, but I think it's pretty cool. They're close enough, right? Like it's only an hour and a half bus drive, and there is a rivalry there, and the Sabres have played the Maple Leafs relatively well recently, and that team is going to look a lot different next season without Mitch Marner and a few of the changes that they've made in the offseason. So I don't think they're quite as intimidating, as powerful as they once were. But yeah, October specifically is looking pretty favorable. And if you're Kevin Adams, and I think both of us have mentioned that I think we'll know by potentially Thanksgiving whether he's going to keep his job or not, which is this year, November 27th. I think that he's looking at that October as an opportunity, a clear opportunity, that if this team gets off to a pretty good start, that even a 500 or above 500 November could help him keep his job leading into the new year.
Yeah. I honestly, with a schedule that looks like this at home, I'm not really scared of the Rangers. I mean, I'm not really scared of Boston. I mean, the Avs, absolutely. You're scared of that team. Ottawa, that's a tough team, but a very beatable team. Florida, former Stanley Cup champions. And you have Montreal, Detroit. I really think you could split that home and home with Toronto. Again, we always play Toronto tough. And you have Columbus. Again, did they get knocked out in the first round last year?
And Columbus just missed.
Oh, they just missed the play. Oh, that's right. They did just miss the playoffs. Sorry. Because we were rooting for that at the end there. I'm looking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think you could go. How many games did I say was in the first month? 11.
It looks like 7 of the 11 in the month of October are at home.
I see why you really can't go 8-3 or 7-4 in the month of October.
Yeah,
I really don't see why you can't.
Given how it's set up, it's definitely favorable for sure.
Yeah. And then we get here to November. You got Washington, the newly named Utah Mammoth, St. Louis. That's going to be a tough game. I mean, again, an aging Washington Capitals team. They had a great season last year, but I mean, the team's another year older. They're not very young. That to me can go either way. Utah, St. Louis, Carolina. That's a tough matchup. And then you have Utah again, Colorado for the second time in less than a month. Detroit, the Oilers, Calgary. I mean, there's a good chunk of winnable games in the first 2 months of this schedule where I think you can, come Thanksgiving, you could be positioned to be possibly in one of those 2 wild card spots.
Well, they were last year, the Friday, I think, after Thanksgiving, after the West Coast.
Correct.
Saturday after Thanksgiving, at the end of the West Coast swing, they came back to beat the Sharks after previously beating the Ducks and Kings out here in Southern California. So it's not out of the question. I don't think.
Did I lose you again? Or is that me? Oh,
I think that's me. I think
that's
it's my
you.
mic.
Okay.
I don't think this team is necessarily worse than last year's team. And with better health luck and better defense and goaltending, I do think that they're potentially even better or right around the same. So being a playoff position right after Thanksgiving, I don't think is out of the question at all.
Love this bold prediction from Dylan Baker. Sabres will miss the playoffs again. He's just holding out no hope. I can't say I blame you.
I think that's the overarching sentiment, right? At the moment.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, defensively, this is possibly the best, three defensive units we've had. I don't know how long, man. Probably since the first era of Lindy Ruff, right? like back when you had Tallinder, Ludman, Teppo, Newman, you had Brian. Like probably since those days, I imagine this is the best defensive three. Again, we'll see what happens with Tia Samuelson. I personally think Ryan Johnson will push for a spot on this team, but this is possibly the best three defensive pairings we've had probably since the first go around with Lindy.
Yeah, it's been a long time that I was as confident about the defensive line combinations at the moment. I do think Kesselring's going to be the perfect partner for Alan Power. We saw what Byram and Dahlin did last year, and it seems as though Timmins is an upgrade to Connor Clifton. And then you could put Samuelson there, and he could be that steady defensive presence on the third pairing in less of an important role, less minutes, or you could slot in Ryan Johnson, you could slot in Jacob Bryson, you could do a few different things there. So I feel good about it, and I am still confident in Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, provided his defense is a little bit better and the forward group supports them, that he could respond and be the version of him that we saw at the end of the 2024 season. And then our guy, Alex Lyon, a veteran presence back there, or even Devin Levi popping in for a few starts here and there. I think the goaltending in general is going to be way, way better as well. So especially being at home, like that'll help the communication for defense and goaltending. Play as many of these games at home as possible.
So in the month of October, what did you have them going? I had them going 7-4.
Yeah, I could see. I'll just, to not be too ridiculous, I'll say that would be 6-4-1.
6-4-1. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna go with you there too. I'm gonna go. Actually, no. I'm gonna say straight 7-4 in October. And in November, you got Washington, win or loss.
I'll say loss, just because they had a really good year last year.
Okay. I'm gonna go win. I'm personally gonna go win there. Utah.
That'll be technically a revenge game. The return of JJ Peterka. The Sabres have at least done pretty well in those types of games in the past. I'd love to see some data on like sleepy midweek games against unattractive small markets, because for some reason, like a team like the Blue Jackets or someone else coming in, I feel like they've struggled in these types of games. But with the return of Peterka and everything involved with that, revenge game for Kesselring and Josh Doan, I'm going to give him a win there.
You're going to give him a win there? I'm going to give him a win too. St. Louis, I'm going loss.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. But coming off a hopefully emotional win against the Mammoth, I'm going to go with a win against the Blues.
You're going to go with, okay, so I'm 2-1. You are 1-2. Correct? You said loss.
Yeah.
Win. And actually, no. You said, you loss. No.
Oh, yeah. 2-1. Yeah.
We're both 2-1. Okay. Carolina.
Loss.
So we're both 2-2 because I'm going to take Carolina. I'm honestly going to say that second Utah game in Utah, I'm going to go, that's a loss for me. So 2-3.
Yeah. The time change coming out a little bit, probably a little bit sluggish, although 3 days off beforehand. But yeah, I'll agree with that.
I'm going to go loss versus Colorado.
Unfortunately, yes.
That's 2-4 for both of us. They're going to bounce back on a Saturday night against against Detroit. So I'm gonna go. What is that? We're both 2-4. It'll be 3-4.
I'll
I mean,
start. I'll predict a start for Alex in that game.
okay. So 3-4 for both of us there. Correct.
Yeah.
Right. Oilers at home.
I'll say loss.
I'm gonna go win. I'm gonna go win here. First game back at home. After a 4 games being on the road, I'm gonna go win. I'm gonna put them on a little bit of a run here. I'm gonna predict a 4-game winning streak right there up until they hit Carolina at home, where I think they lose. So we were at 3-4 going into. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3-4 after Detroit for both of us. I'm 4-4, 5-4, 6-4. After heading into Carolina, where they'll be 6-5. I'm not sure where you slate them at.
Yeah, right around the same. I could go either way on either one of those, but yeah, Carolina at home. I don't know. Carolina's interesting to me because they are a good team. They have their set of principles, but
who's their big addition this offseason?
Ehlers, technically.
Oh, yep.
So that would. I think he could add a lot in terms of playmaking ability and scoring, which they haven't done a lot of in the past. But yeah, Panther. I mean, probably Canes at home would most likely be a loss, but I'll give him a shootout loss.
Okay. So 3-4, 4-4, 5-4, 6-4. I'm 6-5. Okay, so you're gonna give a shootout loss for where? Against Carolina.
Carolina at home, yeah.
Okay, I am going to give them. Actually, I'll go right there with you. I'll agree with you. It'll be a shootout loss for me too. We come back again on the road after 2 nights off against Pittsburgh. I'm gonna give them a win there.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh is going to be the worst team in the league.
Okay, 2 nights later, home at New Jersey.
So that would be home versus New Jersey.
Sorry, home against New Jersey. Sorry, yes.
Let's give them a win. Lindy's old team. Back at home.
They struggled last year against New Jersey too. Remember, they had the back-to-back games against Jersey and Germany. I believe they lost them both.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to see Lindy get a W against them. And I'm gonna go win there too. I'm gonna say they're gonna lose to Minnesota on the road.
Yeah, that's gonna be a back-to-back at home, late night, get into Minnesota. That's the thing with this season. There's gonna be a lot of those, and I think wonky travel as well. Playing a game in Buffalo and then probably a 2.5-hour flight to Minnesota directly after the game, and then playing a game the next night. That's going to be tough.
That's true. All right. So for November, I got win. I'm going to go OT or shootout loss against St. Louis. So that's 2-0-1. Loss against Carolina. That's 2-1-1. I'm going to go loss against Utah. That's, what is that? 2-1, correct? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2-2-1. 2-3-1. I guess they're going to lose outright to the Avalanche. That's 2-3-1. They're going to bounce back against Detroit. That'll be 3-3-1. I have them winning against the Oilers, 4-3-1. I'm going to say they're 5-3-1, 6-3-1, and then lose to Carolina in a shootout. So it'll be 6-3-2, 7-3-2, 8-3-2, and then lose outright to Minnesota, 8-4-2. I believe I got that right. So that's 13.
Yeah, I think there are. I was just looking. There are 14 games. 8-4-2 would be 14.
Yeah. Okay. So I have them in 8-4. I have 8-4-2 in the month of October. Where did you have them?
I don't know if I'd be able to do that math, but I think if I'm looking at it from a 30,000-foot view, I'll just go with 9-5.
9-5 with no OT losses or wins.
Or I guess that would be. Let's go 8-4-2.
Same as me. Okay. Yeah. 8-4-2. All right. So let's kick it over to December, heading into when is the Olympic break?
The Olympic break, the last game before the Olympic break is
A lot of games
February 5th. So I think it
Okay.
starts the week of February 9th.
So I think this is where they really start to struggle with this schedule. Winnipeg is going to be a tough team, I think, no matter what. I think you're playing one of the best goalies, if not the best goalie in the world, former reigning MVP of the league. Then Philly, who I think is the tough team, and Winnipeg again. Calgary. I mean, this is I think this is a tough. This could be a 500 month in December, but there's a lot of hockey to be played. Honestly though, there's only one back to back here, correct? Yeah. No, there's two back to backs.
Yeah. Calgary and Edmonton, and then on the island.
Island.
Actually, Islanders at home and then to New Jersey. So
yeah,
that's not the easiest in the world, but
yeah, a lot of travel time at least.
Also not horrible. I think this is another 14 game month, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. 6 + 3 is 9, + 3 is 12. Yeah. So the first 3 months of the season, there's 14 games in each month, which is a lot for sure.
Yeah.
And then I think January is even more. So they're going to pack in a lot. But yeah, December is where they crumbled last year. Obviously, Darlene went down, and that did not help matters at all. But after the hot start, they were not able to pick up even loser points. They struggled to even get that extra point for even forcing overtime. And they were just losing games in regulation. There weren't too many blowouts. There was obviously the loss they blew at home to the Avalanche, being up 4-1 in the third period. I think that happened twice, actually, unfortunately. But yeah, this could be a defining moment for the season. And given what they went through last year, I do think that experience will help, and they'll be able to get through it much better than they did, and hopefully not have as many catastrophic injuries.
So what do you got for the first 3 games? You got Winnipeg, Philly, Winnipeg.
I'll say 1 and 2.
1 and 2. I agree with you with them splitting. Are they splitting the Winnipeg games, or you got them beating Philly?
I'll say they beat Philly.
I'm gonna say they split. I think Philly is that's a tough matchup, and I'm not sure. I don't who is their. They had a pretty decent addition in the offseason, right?
They traded for Trevor Zegras.
That's right. Yeah, and I think Zegras is the type of guy that, I mean, I don't know if he'll thrive under. Is it Tocchet now? It's Tocchet.
I think so. Right? Yeah, it is Rick Tocchet.
The Tocchet. So I mean, maybe he thrives under Rick Tocchet. I don't know. I think he was definitely a type of guy that needed a change of scenery. I have them splitting. I think they win that first game against Winnipeg, but then lose the next 2. Philly and Winnipeg. So you got them 2-1. I got them. Wait, you said you got them 1 and 2?
Yeah.
I have 1 and 2. Okay. The next week, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, all on the road, West Coast trip.
I'll go 1-1-1 there. I think the win will be against Calgary. Loss will be against Edmonton. Shootout loss against Vancouver.
I'm going to go 0-1-2. I think they get 2 loser points out of it, and then lose outright to probably Edmonton. I think they take Calgary and Vancouver to overtime in a shootout, but eventually lose. So I'm going to go you have them 1-1-1. I have them 0-1-2. So the third week of December, Seattle on the road, and then you get 3 days off, and you get the Philadelphia Flyers and Islanders both at home.
I'm going to try to be at that Seattle game. I go up to Seattle pretty frequently. My sister lives up there. She's lived up there for a while, and I have yet to go to a Kraken game. So hopefully I will be in the building. And by virtue of that, I'm going to say a win against the Kraken. I do not think that they did much to add to their team this offseason. I think they're going through a mini rebuild themselves in terms of their identity. Obviously, Jason Botterill's the GM there now. But I'll go with a win there. And then let's have them go on a little run here in December to do a complete 180 of what happened at this time last year. But I'll say a win against the Flyers and the Islanders.
So you're going to go 3-0 a week.
Yeah.
I'm going 3-0 week 2. I think they have 2 nights off. Really get their bearings underneath them after. Honestly, I mean, Calgary's a young, fast hockey team. Edmonton, again, once again in the finals. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and Vancouver, I think, is a tough team. I think their fans would even agree that expectations were pretty high for them last year, and I just don't see them. I see them as a very a good team next season, in my opinion. I think they turn it around. So I had them again 0-1-2 in the second week, and I got them going right back into a 3-0 week in week 3. Week 4, or let me see. Well, I guess technically week 4. You have the Devils away, Senators away, and then after 3 nights off, you have Boston at home. That Devils is of a back-to-back though. So
go with a loss against the Devils. They've been good on the road in Ottawa recently. I think they swept the Senators, inexplicably swept the Senators, who made the playoffs this past season, and Sens fans were very, very upset about that. But I'll say a win against the Senators and then a win against the Bruins at 2-1.
So you got a 2-1 week. So I have them losing to New Jersey, losing in a shootout or overtime to Ottawa, and then I have them beating Boston outright. So I have 1-1-1 for my for that week for me. And then to end things for the month, St. Louis and Dallas, 2 very tough matchups.
I'll go 1-1 there. I think they probably lose to the Stars outright and get a point against the Blues. So for me, that would make them 7-5-2 in the month of December, which, all things considered, considering last year, not too bad.
Yeah. So I have the same for them. 1-1. I think they get a loser point to St. Louis and then lose outright to Dallas. So for my month, for me, it's 1, 4, 5 losses, 5-5 and 4 for me. So I'm a 5-5 and 4 month for you. And what were you?
7-5-2.
7-5-2. So you're a little more optimistic about that month than I am, but okay, let's get into January. We're getting really into the dog days of the season. Again, they're really packing a lot of games in, obviously in preparation for the Olympic break. Saturday, we'll just group this game into for week 1, 4-game week. Blue Jackets in Columbus. Then you got Vancouver at home, the Rangers in Madison Square Garden, and then the Ducks at home.
So that Blue Jackets game, the last game before that will be New Year's Eve, actually, in Dallas. Not the best place to spend New Year's Eve, but they will, I think, be able to come home after that game, get a day or two at home, and then they'll fly to Columbus to begin the new year. I'll give them a win against Columbus. Come home to Vancouver. First game at home in the new year. Might as well do a win there. Rangers on the road, Madison Square Garden, middle of the week in January could be tough. I'll go shootout loss there, and then the Ducks at home on a Saturday. Let's go a win. So 3-0-1 for me to start the new year.
Okay, so I'm gonna go 2-1-1 there. I think they beat Columbus. I think they beat Vancouver. I think they lose. What did I say? 2-1-1. I think they lose outright to. Actually, you know what? I think they beat Columbus. I think they beat Vancouver. I think they. You know what? I think I gotta agree with you. I think a 3-1 record to start the month.
3-0-1 for me, but yeah. That Ducks game is the first game of a 5-game homestand, which is one of the longer homestands they have all year. They have another one in March, actually. But it's 6 of 7 games at home in the first 17 days of the year.
Man.
Yeah, there's Well, there's only 15 games compared to 14 in the first 3 months, but 2 back-to-backs, and it just looks jumbled up.
Yeah. So second week, you have Florida, Flyers, Montreal, Minnesota.
Yeah, it's not the easiest stretch of teams, but I'll give them 2-2 there. I think they probably lose to Florida. I think they haven't been good against the Canadiens at home recently. I'll say a win against the Flyers, loss against the Canadiens, and then a win against the Wild.
Okay. Do you still have my camera?
I don't.
All right. It's run out of power here, and with these new mics, my external, like my adapter doesn't work for the thing for some reason. So give me one moment here. Let me just bring my camera back up. See if that works. 1 second. Sorry, guys. I don't know who that is on the screen. Posing as me. All right. Give me 1 second here. Looks like it was unplugged. Yeah, I know. 1 sec. Oh, okay, I'm back. Alrighty. So for that week for me, I'm gonna go lose outright to Florida. I think they're gonna split Montreal, and I'm not sure which way that's gonna go for me. Actually, you know what? I think they win both those games. I'm gonna go 2-2. 2-2 that week for me.
Cool.
So where were you for that week?
I also had 2-2.
2-2. Okay, cool. So another 4-game week, all on the road. Carolina, Nashville, who's looking to have a bounce back year, Montreal, and the Islanders.
A lot of games versus Carolina relatively early.
Yes.
But they have not played well in Carolina. I forget what exactly the record is, but hasn't been good, and I don't necessarily think that's going to change anytime soon. So I'll go a loss in Carolina. Hopefully bounce back in Nashville in a cool environment down on Broadway Street. Back to back, a little bit of energy. Hopefully, I'll say win against Nashville. Again, the Habs haven't been good recently, but I'll reverse course there. I'll say a win against the Canadiens, and then let's go a shootout loss against the Islanders in what is usually a slow game on the island. So I'll go 2-1-1.
2-1-1. I'm gonna go 1-2-1 for me. I think they lose to Carolina. I think they beat Nashville outright. I think they lose outright to Montreal, and I think they lose to the Islanders in a shootout or in overtime. So you had them what again?
2-1-1.
2-1-1. Final week, you head into Montreal after 2 nights off. Or I'm not Montreal, I'm sorry, Toronto, and then home against the Kings. And to end the month of December on January 31st, you have the Montreal Canadiens at home.
Third time playing the Canadiens this month. That's interesting. I'll say a loss to Toronto on the road, win against the Kings at home, and a win against the Habs at home. So that would be 2-1 to end the month.
I'm gonna go 1-1-1. I think they lose outright to the Maple Leafs. I think they lose in overtime or a shootout to LA, and I think they beat Montreal outright. So what was your record again?
So that would be 5 + 2 is 7 is 9, and then 9-4. Oh boy, people aren't going to.
Well, it'd be 9-4-1 if
9-4. I thought
9-4-2.
Yeah,
right?
9-4-2. Yeah.
Okay, because that's 15. I have them at 5, 6, 7, 7, 6, and 2. Right? Does that math that up? It does. Yes.
Yeah. Also.
Okay. So we're heading to February, where every point matters. Obviously, you have the All-Star break in there. I'm assuming the things could get dicey around here before the Olympics too, because I'm sure there's going to be a roster freeze. So you could probably see some trade activity around there. It's almost kind of be like having a second trade deadline. Actually, when is the deadline?
It's usually early March.
February, March. Okay, so you might have like kind of a second deadline, trade deadline here, unless they decide to move it to right around here. Florida in Florida, Tampa in Tampa, and you're back home against the Penguins.
The Florida swing is never kind to this team, or at least
No.
it hasn't been recently. So unfortunately, I'll go with 2 losses there, and then thankfully at home against likely a selling Penguins team at that juncture of the season, given where they are. I'll go 1-2 before the Olympic break.
I'm the same way, same thing. I think they're going to go 0-2 in Florida, and they're going to come back and beat Pittsburgh. I just don't think Pittsburgh's going to be a very good team. They're going to be a lottery team for sure. They're going to be in the hunt for McKenna. And then at the very end of the season, after the All-Star break, hopefully after we see Tage Thompson win, maybe even Alex Tuck, who knows, win some gold for the Team USA. You have, again, 3 games on the road, New Jersey, Florida. And honestly, this is pretty kind to the Sabres because you got to imagine, like, if you're going to have a 3-game road trip, why not after you've had like 2 weeks off?
Yeah, but you have that Florida on the road back-to-back against Florida and Tampa in the same month. Maybe that's a good thing, especially if they went 0-2 in the beginning of the month. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that one, given the scheduling quirk there. I'll go 1-1-1. I say they lose to the Panthers outright, as they typically do. They get a shootout loss against the Devils or an overtime loss against the Devils, and then they beat the Lightning.
Okay, I have them going 2-0-1. I think they beat both Tampa and New Jersey, and I think they lose in a shootout or overtime to Florida. So that puts me at 3-3 for the month. Well, actually, no, 3-2-1 for the month, I believe.
Yeah, I'm 2-3-1 there.
3-2-1. You're what would you say?
2-3-1.
2-3-1. Okay. And then we head into March. Trade deadline.
Oof, gosh.
Yeah, this is an ugly.
Another 15-game month, it looks like.
Yeah.
I see 7 at the beginning, 3 would be 10 plus 4. Yeah. So October, November, December, all 14. January and March, both 15, and then 6 games in February, and then 6 games in April. So at least that's consistent. But yeah, 15 games in March is wild. But also, you've got, I guess that would be 7 games in the first 2 weeks of the season. 6 of them are at home.
Correct.
So that first week, Vegas at home should be another good atmosphere. Pittsburgh on the road, Nashville at home. I'll go 2-1 there.
I think so too. I think they go 2-1. I think they're going to drop that game to Vegas, even though I'd love to see them shove it up Jack's hoop. But I think you're right. That's a 2-1 for me as well. So we're both 2-1 to start March. We head into the second week, 4-game week. Again, we're in the dog days of March here. 4-game homestand: Tampa, San Jose, Washington, and Toronto. And honestly, I got them going 3-0-1. I think the only loser point they take in here is against Washington. I think they beat Tampa. I think they beat San Jose. I think they lose in a shootout or overtime to Washington. I think they beat the brakes off of Toronto.
Optimistic, which I looks like have been too optimistic throughout most of the schedule. I'm going to say 2-1-1 for me. That's a lot of hockey in a short stretch, and I think they're.
But there's no back. There's a back-to-back against there. Actually, no, I'm going to have them taking that loser. Back to home and home against.
So it'll be Nashville, and then Tampa.
Who says they can't fucking go on a run here?
Well, I mean, if it were to happen, especially coming out of the break, having again this favorable home stretch of games, that this would be the time to do it. And if they're right on the cusp or they're right in the mix, having 6 of these first 7 games of the month at home is a good thing. I would say that the NHL did them a favor there.
Yeah. And then you got 3-game week. Obviously another road trip. You got Vegas, San Jose, and the Kings. I'm sure you're gonna be at one of those 2 games.
I'm gonna be. Gosh, I was talking to people about going up to San Jose as well. We'll see if that happens, but it's not the easiest home 4-game stretch, but also not the worst. I mean, you're going from Vegas to San Jose, which is a little strange, and then back down to LA, then down to Anaheim for a back-to-back.
So we'll bunch these into 4 games then. We'll count as 4 games.
I'll go a loss to Vegas. I'll go a win against the Sharks. I'll go a win against the Kings, and then a shootout or an overtime loss against the Ducks, just because of the back-to-back. Let's say 2-1-1 there.
Okay. I'm gonna go. Loss, win, loss. I'm gonna go 1, 2, and 1.
Okay.
I'm gonna go 1, 2. And what were you?
2-1-1.
2, 1, and 1. I just think that's just a lot of hockey to be playing on the road, a back-to-back. I think they split that one of those 2 games. I'm not sure. I don't know. 1, 2, and 1. Lost to Vegas. I think they beat San Jose outright with a night off. I think they might lose in overtime. So 1, 1, and 1. I'm gonna go 2, 1, and 1. Sorry, I'm gonna change that up for me. I'm gonna go 2, 1, and 1. What were you?
2-1-1 as well.
2, 1, and 1. Okay. All right. So final 4 games of the month: Boston, all home. Boston, Detroit, Seattle, the Islanders. All very winnable hockey games, even though they like to struggle against Seattle for whatever reason.
Gosh, all 4 of them are extremely winnable, which is scary to say, especially coming off what could be a pretty good road trip. I'm gonna
It's
go.
not a bad road trip, man. I know.
You know what I
mean? Like,
not too bad, especially with the Sharks and the Ducks. I'll just say 2-2. I've been relatively optimistic up until then. I think they falter at some point. I think the Wings could be in the mix. The Kraken could be in the mix. The Islanders could be in the mix. Who knows about the Bruins if they'll have a bounce back year, but I'll say 2-2.
I'm right there with you. I think they lose 2 in a row, Boston and Jersey, and they find a way to beat the Kraken and obviously a rebuilding Islanders team. So for the month for me, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3 or 9, 4, and 2.
I think I had 8, 5, and 2.
8, 5, and 2.
Yeah.
I think our records are probably going to be pretty close here. So final month of the year. Obviously, again, every point counts. We'll start with the first 4 games: Ottawa, Washington, Tampa, Rangers, and MSG.
So Ottawa on the road. Again, played them really tough last season. The 2 teams aren't that much different, so I'll give them a win there. Caps on the road. I'll say that's a loss. Tampa back at home after a little break. I'll go with a win, and then I'll go with a win against the Rangers. So I'll go, that would be, I guess I'll go 2-1-1. I think they'll probably get forced into overtime in one of those. I'll go 2-1.
I'm actually right there with you, 2-1-1. I think they beat Ottawa. They lose to Washington. They beat Tampa, and they lose in overtime to the Rangers. And the final 3 games of the season could mean that who knows? These 3 games can mean the difference between breaking the drought and 15 years. Columbus, Chicago, and Dallas.
I would love, I had said it when the schedule came out, I would love to break the drought
against Dallas,
potentially in the last night of the season at home against not only our no-goal nemesis, but Lindy's former team. The atmosphere would be insane. Hopefully they do it before then, but I'll just, out of the sake of realism, I'll say 1-1 there.
Speaking my language, I have them going 1-1 and 1-2. So 1-1 and 1. So what record do you have added up?
That would be 3-2-1, 3-2-2 for the month of April.
3-2-2. So I have 2 and 2. So we're both 3-2-2.
Yeah, good luck with all that math. We'll get back to you on next podcast when Duane adds
actually,
up our record prediction.
I can actually get it pretty quick here. I think we'll see. So I have 7. We'll just go wins and losses to start things off. Add this up for me as I go.
Oh boy,
7.
give me a second.
All right.
Are you going by month?
I'm going. This is wins. Yeah, I'm going. I have it all broken down by month here.
Okay.
Starting in October, I have 7. This is for me. 7 plus 8 plus 5 plus 6 or plus 7. Sorry. So 7 plus 8 plus 5 plus 7 plus 3 plus 9 plus 3.
All right. So that'd be 15 plus 5 is 20. 20 plus 10 is 30. Plus 12 would be 42.
Okay, I got now. This is just straight losses, no loser points. It's straight losses.
Okay.
4 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 2 plus 4 plus 2.
That would be 8 plus 11, which is 19. Plus 2 is 21. Plus 4 is 25. Plus 2 is 27. 27. 42. Yeah, with loser points.
Loser points here for me are 2, 4, 2.
Wait. So 4. Okay. They would be going to overtime.
No, I'm going. These are start from the beginning. These are my loser points. 2 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2.
So then I would have 6, 8, 9, 11, 13.
So 13. So what's my record?
42, 27, and 13. I can almost guarantee that doesn't add up to 82.
We might be way off here, man. I'm gonna add it up right now.
42 plus 27 plus 13. Oh, 82.
Yeah, look at that. All right. See, you can trust him, Duane. All right. So for you, we'll start with wins. 6.
Wait 1 second. I'm just gonna do this as you say it on my phone.
Okay.
Easier. 6.
These are just wins. 6 plus 8 plus 7 plus 9 plus 2 plus 8 plus 3.
43.
Ooh, you have more wins than me. All right. So for just straight losses, 4 plus 4 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 5 plus 2. You don't have a single month where there's no loser points involved. I have 1 month, and that's the beginning of the.
That's also 27, same as you.
27. So I think we can just 43. So that means you have 1 less loser point, right? And so 2 plus 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
Wow.
43, pretty similar. 43, 27,
wow.
12. That's a psychologist could probably break that down and break that down to groupthink. Being on the pod and talking through similar things at the same time. That's probably how to explain that.
I have them getting a 97-point season, which you would think that'd be good enough for playoffs, right?
Oof, yeah, you'd say so, right? And then what? Mine would be 98 or 97 as well.
2 equals 86 plus 12. Yep, 98. So you have them finishing 1 point higher than me. And I think this is just us being crazy optimistic. I think the difference here, though, Hurls, is I think we're giving them a lot more loser points than they got last year, right?
And that theoretically could be the difference in the season.
100%. Is there a better team defensively? And I think there'll be a better team in net. No matter which of the 3 goaltenders, whichever the mix is, I think they're going to be better in net this season.
Yeah, I think so too. And getting some of those loser points will be really, really important in terms of potentially staying in the race. I think the past few years, let's see what it was this year. I think it was high 80s, low 90s in terms of what got in. Let's see. Yeah, 91 got in with the Canadiens. And that's usually right around where it is. The Senators had 97, and they were the first wild card. So that would put them right on the cusp, especially coming out of
the team at that point production.
Yeah, especially coming out of the Olympic break on a 97, 98 point pace. That would put them right in the mix for that last month and a half of the season. But yeah, I mean, 12 or 13 loser points is a big deal. Also 42 wins. That hasn't happened in a while. That was 2023. They were 42, 33, and 7. So that was the season at the end. Obviously, they had that 7-2-1 stretch with Levi at the end of the year, but way more regulation losses than we're predicting. 33 regulation losses as opposed to 27 or 28. So getting those loser points is a big deal. Let's see this past season who had the most. The Canadiens got into the playoffs almost primarily because they had 11 loser points. And then the Flames just missed, they had 14. Canucks just missed, they had 14. So not crazy to think that a team could have 12 or 13. I think it's more likely than not that there's going to be a few more regulation losses and then less loser points. I would say potentially maybe a 40, 30, and 12 record could potentially be more likely, which would be 92 points, which would still put them in. But I think our optimism is somewhat rooted in what we talked to Alex Lyon about, the defense and the goaltending potentially be better, while also having some additions to that forward group as well. So people probably think we're stupid. I don't care.
No, personally. I mean, I think
it's more fun to be optimistic, and that's also not crazy to think that this team could be 10 points better than last year. Actually, well, in this case, it'd be 19 points better, but that's fine.
I think this season's success is going to come down to two things: getting those loser points and a power play, improved power play.
Yeah, and I would say improved goals against as well would probably be.
Yeah, I think the wheels would have to completely fall off defensively again for them to be worse defensively and in net. I genuinely think they'll be better in net, and like just on paper, they're a better defensive team with Timmins and Kesselring.
For sure. It was 269 goals for, 289 goals against for a -20 differential this past season. I could see that being closer to, let's say they score a similar amount of goals. I'll give them 270 just for shits and gigs. And then I'll bring them to, let's go 265. So that would be a +5 goal differential, which not amazing, but that the Senators got in with a +9. The Blue Jackets missed by a point with a +5. A +5 to 10 goal differential, I think probably gets them in.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think, listen, maybe we're being a little homers there, but I don't think that's a terrible schedule. The groupings of the games, that Olympic break to me is huge for me, because you come out of it. You're after a 2 week, you're having one of your road trips after a 2 week break. A lot of time to relax, reset, get some family time in. That stuff matters in the middle of the season, man. Like, it matters, especially if you're a player who might be in a slump. Like, that stuff matters, no doubt about it.
For sure. And all of the home games at the beginning of October and March, in the favorable spots that they are, I do think also is a big deal, given how well they played at home down the stretch. And if you start fast at home, it'll encourage people to buy tickets and it'll change the atmosphere a little bit. So I think that's important as well.
Who's your starting goalie? Because, I mean, Mike, you see here is like, I don't think UPL will make enough clutch saves. I personally think your horse next season, when it comes down to those must-win games, is going to be an Alex Lyon.
Well, I think to start the year, I think it's going to be UPL. And then I think it would benefit both of them, especially with all of these back-to-backs, that they have closer to a split towards like down the stretch in January, March, and April. I think that's specifically the reason they brought him in. Let's say 82 games. I'll break it down. I'll say Devin gets, especially in some of these back-to-backs closer to home, I'll say he gets 7 games this year. So that would mean 75 games split between UPL and Alex Lyon. I'll say 40 games for UPL, 35 for Alex Lyon, 7 for Devin Levi.
Yeah. I think you might be right there. I think personally, I think Alex wins the job outright out of camp. It's second year in a row where UPL lost his job to a guy who was just pretty much close to retirement. But that's just my opinion. Before we wrap things up here, I do definitely want to get into like our projected lineups for opening night. I do have kind of like a little. I'm going to share the screen here. We're going to try and make this work. I'm going to share my screen again here. Let's see if this works. Share. Kind of made a mock projection. Pull it up here. Here we go. So I'm going to pull up over here. We have all our forwards up here. You see, those are all forwards. I think the defensive pairings are probably set. You got Darlene with Byram, Power with Kesslering, and as of right now, Samuelson and Timmins, unless Sammy loses that job, which could be we could honestly swap that out. You have Radim Murka, could be a sleeper. I highly doubt he makes the NHL this season, but who knows? We've seen crazier things. I don't think anyone thought Zach Benson was going to make the NHL right out of camp, but he did. You have Jacob Bryson, you have Ryan Johnson, and then obviously Zach Jones, who was kind of like a last second, not like a later free agency signing, a guy who I think a lot of fans are kind of surprised was even available. Where do you have your first line on opening night?
I'll go Norris centering Zach Benson and Tage Thompson.
Yeah. Okay. So you have Norris. Sorry. I don't know why this is popping up here. 1 second. Again, this is just like a test run here. Let's see. There we go. Hold on. Sorry, everybody. I don't know why that keeps popping up. Okay. So you have Norris centering. Why is this was being fine earlier? Okay, there we go. So you have Norris centering Tage. Is Tage on the right or left side?
Right side.
It's on the right side. So we're going to put him over here on the right side. All right. Tage on the right side of Norris. And who was on the other wing?
Benson.
So you're going to go with the early predictions, kind of like everybody else, was Benson on the top line. Like I think that's how we had ended last season, but Kulik was in that spot, was he not?
I think, yeah, given the injury to Norris, yeah. I don't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, I think given the injury to Norris, that's probably closer to what this was.
Okay, so that's your top line. Norris centering Tage and Zach Benson. Who is your second line?
I'll do Ryan McLeod centering Jason Zucker and Alex Tuck.
Okay. Ryan McLeod centering, and I forget, is Tuck on the left side?
No, he's on the right.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Tuck was only on a line with Tage when Tage was centering. And then who was on your opposite wing? Zucker?
Yeah.
Okay. So top 6 for Connor Hurley is going to be Norris centering Benson and Tage. And then we got McLeod centering Tuck and Zucker. I'm assuming, I'm going on a limb here and saying your third line center is going to be Yuri Kulik.
Correct.
Okay. And who are his wingers?
I'll go with Doan and Quinn.
So what is your opinion of Josh Doan? Because there's been a lot of talk, and we saw him in Sabres Embedded there. I forgot what exactly. Did you watch the Embedded videos?
No, I haven't yet.
Neither have I. I mean, I saw snippets of it, but apparently there was a lot of good, strong feelings surrounding Josh Doan. They think very highly of him. Now he's a right winger, I believe, or is he a left winger?
I think he's left wing.
Left wing. Okay. So we're gonna have Doan centering Kulik and Greenway, or is it Jack Quinn? I'm assuming Jack Quinn.
Yeah.
Okay. And there is potentially one roster spot open with this lineup. Because I don't think Beck Malenstein, as good as he was near at the end of the season, I don't know if Beck Malenstein has a guaranteed spot on this team. So you're gonna have Peyton Krebs, most likely. I mean, this is very early predictions for opening night, but you're gonna have Peyton Krebs centering Jordan Greenway and Beck Malenstein as of right now,
or Danforth. But
or Danforth.
Yeah, I would say either Malenstein or Danforth in that final spot.
And I'm not sure which side Greenway is on, but I don't really care all that much right now.
Typically a left wing, I'd say.
Okay. So that's your tops. Those are your forward lines right now on opening night. Zach Norris in between Benson and Thompson. You have McLeod between Zucker and Tuck. Yuri Kulik between Jack Quinn and Josh Doan. And then Peyton Krebs between Beck Malenstein and Jordan Greenway. Your defensive pairings are Rasmus Dahlin and Bowen Byram, Owen Power Kesselring, Matthias Samuelsson, and Connor Timmins. Now we have some extra skaters here, obviously. This is very interchangeable. You have UPL as your starting goaltender. I personally have Alex Lyon. Divin Levi is kind of there floating in the shadows. See what type of camp he has. Your extra skaters, you're kind of like on the cuffs guys. Noah Oslin, Jacob Bryson, who I think is just going to be a guy who's going to be in there for injury. Ryan Johnson, they just signed him to a 3-year deal. I genuinely think that he's going to push for that Samuelsson spot in this lineup. A guy who, congrats, just got engaged today, by the way. Isaac Rosine, Costa Helenius, who I think it was Olli Jokinen. I want to say it was Olli Jokinen was the one who said that he believed that Costa Helenius could have played in the NHL right out of the draft. And then Justin Danforth and Zach Jones. Are any of these names here? Do you see them in your lineup? Interchanging with any of these names up here?
I would say the most likely are Danforth and Ryan Johnson.
Danforth and Ryan Johnson. So you have Ryan Johnson sliding into that, probably, I'm assuming,
for
Samuelsson. What happens to Samuelsson then? Is he traded? Is he bought out? What do you think?
I mean, that would have to be either potentially an injury, potentially a trade, or I don't know. They would have to work something out, obviously, given the contract. But I don't think it's out of the question that Ryan Johnson could win that job, because Samuelsson hasn't really proven it in the past couple of years.
No.
But it's his job to lose as of now.
But off in camp, personally, and again, we mentioned earlier there could be 2 trade deadlines this season. With I'm assuming there's going to be a roster freeze heading into the Olympic break, and then the trade deadline itself. So I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities to make moves, especially if you're starting the season with Samuelsson on this roster. I think there's going to be plenty of opportunity for teams, whether they're dealing with injury or not, to maybe swing a deal for a guy like Samuelsson. For me personally, I'm gonna make a couple slight changes. I'm gonna swap McLeod and Kulik with your lineup, because I think Kulik and Zucker, I think they did. Granted, Kulik showed some great chemistry playing with Tage on the top line at the end of the season, but I think given what Zucker said about playing with Kulik, I think he's your second line center. McLeod sliding at 3, which still, that's a great. I think that's a good second line in my opinion. First line is a little dicey because you don't know what you're going to get out of Josh Norris. If he's going to be healthy, is he going to get back to that 30-plus goal scorer that he was with Ottawa? Who really knows? I think that's a big question mark in this lineup. Third line could be dicey because who knows about Jack Quinn? Is he going to stay healthy? Is he going to have confidence? Is he going to have any swagger heading into this season? Obviously, he got that extension. Hopefully, he puts on size this offseason. He desperately needs it, much like Casey did before his breakout year. So that could be a good third line. Who knows? And I really don't know what we're going to get out of Josh Doan. He plays a heavy game. He plays in grit. Obviously, I know Arizona or not, then Utah felt very highly of him. I hope that he reaches that ceiling, I guess, that they saw for him. Who knows what he'll look like on this team. Fourth line. You said you had Danforth. Is he a winger? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So who do you have him to spot? I'm assuming you haven't taken Valentine's spot.
Yeah, exactly.
So Valentine's spot. Yeah, I think that I'd love to see one of these former first round picks find a way to get into this lineup. But who knows? I'd love to see Consta Helenius at some point in this lineup this season, because I liked what I saw from him in the playoffs this past year for Rochester. I thought he had a good first professional pro year with Rochester. Anybody who I talked to from Rochester who was there all the time says he looked fantastic this season. But I'd love to see him in this lineup at some point this year. But yeah, I mean, very small changes between yours and my lineup, much like our when we broke down the schedule. But yeah, very similar opening night roster predictions. Way too early. So, any final thoughts before we get out of here? I know we're over an hour now. So,
I think that this is probably not what the opening night lineup is going to be, if I had to guess.
I don't want Zach Benson on I should have changed that. I don't want Zach Benson on my top line personally.
Yeah, I think ideally you wouldn't, but as it currently stands, he probably fits in best with the game that he plays, provided Norris is healthy and the playmaking ability with Tage Thompson, the goal scoring. I think that would be a pretty good line, to be honest. Two really, really good goal scorers in Josh Norris and Tage Thompson. And then you have a guy who is very, very responsible defensively, can create turnovers in both the offensive and defensive zone, and is a pretty good playmaker himself. So I think that would be a pretty good line, personally. I think a lot of this could change either with a trade or a free agent signing. Obviously, a lot of people are talking about Jack Roslovic, he didn't get signed, did he?
I don't believe so. I don't believe Roslovic.
Yeah, he's still out there.
20 goals scored last season.
He's a veteran, obviously, and he could slot in somewhere in that top six, potentially move some people down. Obviously, that couldn't hurt. And let's say they work out a trade for either Bowen Byram or Matthias Samuelsson. That could change things as well. And then you could slot Ryan Johnson in there. You could slot Jacob Bryson if you need to. Things could change as far as the forward group goes. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they do, because
I think a lot of our predicted lineups probably change, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, and they probably should change, because I don't think, as we've said before, that the top six is quite good enough. I do think they either make a trade or make a signing to bolster it a little bit before opening night. I hope so, at least, because I do think that'll allow our schedule predictions to come a little bit closer if they do have a little bit more depth in the forward group.
Couldn't agree more. My final thoughts, I have two. Obviously, RIP to the Prince of Darkness today at 76 years old, Ozzy Osbourne. I'm sure he was part of a lot of people's pregame playlists. Crazy Train. Crazy Train specifically, but that list goes honestly on and on. War Pigs, Iron Man. I mean, that guy, slayed for 3, 4, 5 decades, probably 5 decades. Was just recently had his final performance in the UK, battling Parkinson's, which not a lot of people knew about. So, rest in peace to him. One of my biggest regrets, not seeing him live. And then shout out to my buddy Mike Carr, who had I got some gifts from him for the American Veterans Racing Organization. I told him I'd give him a shout out. For his team. I'll post some if you want to donate to your local veterans racing organization. He does a lot of good for veterans. He runs the Sabres Warriors Foundation and the Rochester Warriors Foundation. I believe he runs the Rochester one too. Does a ton of good for veterans locally. Nobody works harder, in my opinion. So I'll post those links if anybody's interested in donating. And then you can get some pretty cool gear. Like the hat. Kind of like a Captain America type thing, and then the shirts too. So I'll post those. But if you got nothing left, Connor, I got nothing left. This has been episode 201 of Two Goalies, One Mic. Signing off for the week, unless something big happens here in the time being. We'll talk to you later, and as always, Go Sabres.